Randy Hansen is here, and he's doing an amazing thing. Randy is an old friend of the show, has sat in with Spike and the Impalers numerous times, tours the world, and is currently working with the EMP Museum, the museum that was put up in honor of the late, great Jimi Hendrix. And on December 23rd at 1:30 p.m., Randy's going to perform at EMP in the Sky Church. And this will wrap up a 5-day guitar building workshop. Now, I was reading about this. It's really cool. It's neat that you're doing it.
Yeah, I really like that there are things that are coming up that are musically oriented things, you know, because they're talking about taking music out of schools and stuff like that, and it's so important for it to be. Ooh, my microphone's.
Yeah, we got your amp.
Is that amp on?
I guess so. But anyway, you know, it's really neat that I get to do this, and that they asked me. I feel really honored that they asked me.
Well, I'll tell them what you're doing. And is this part of the project that I have a demonstrator of here?
No, that was part of.
Or is this something you smashed?
That was something I smashed on stage.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so you've heard of you take little kids to Build-A-Bear. Did you take your girls to Build-A-Bear?
My girl lives at Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, and I remember Build-A-Bear. I think when our kids were really young, they'd be embarrassed now. But the kids build like a teddy bear, right?
Fun.
It's a lot of fun.
And if I could have done this when I was a kid, you know, to build my own guitar, I would have been thrilled. You know,
well. That's what it is. Build a guitar. It's called Guitar Building Workshop. And how old do you have to be in this? Is there any limit? Or can a 56-year-old kid come?
I don't think there's any limit to it. Huh? They generally want high school.
It is high school.
High school kids.
Is that the kind of guitar you build there? Kevin Murphy has a guitar.
That was built by the.
That was built by the kids.
With the help of Casey.
Wow.
Wow, look at that. Casey built that. It's Q13 Fox guitar. Look at that.
I'd buy that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know
nice.
Casey even knew how to imagine what a psychedelic was. That's fantastic. So, all right. So how does this work? So is this sort of like, almost like in the form of a reality show where you come in, you meet, you teamwork, you learn, and you build a guitar, and at the end, does everybody have a competition? How does that work?
I think that we're going to build the guitars and kind of compare them, maybe have a little beauty contest kind of thing, you know.
That's beautiful.
And,
all right. Have you ever, you built guitars yourself?
Yeah, I built guitars. I have a Strat that I built that I tried to find the hardest wood I could find because I like to throw them around, you know, a lot.
Yeah.
And I have this one.
I like to run over them with my SUV.
Only other people's, Bob.
Only if it's Aaron's guitar.
If it lasts through that, then it's a good guitar.
It didn't.
I actually did recently run over a bass.
Oh, you did?
By accident.
By accident.
Someone had left it in a parking lot, and they were running to another gig.
Was that Lynn Sorensen?
No, it was Aaron. Well,
Aaron Jones,
was
bass
it his?
player. No, it was DeAndre's.
DeAndre, that's
yeah,
right.
bass player.
Did it make it?
Nope.
Did the bass?
No, it did
the bass
not
didn't
make it.
Snap, crackle, pop.
Well.
We replaced it.
It was
I
a
think
nice
we
bass, too.
Hey, Eric, did we ever replace it? We said we were going to replace it.
Yeah, I put DeAndre in with Evan, and they're talking, and we should get it.
Talk is cheap. I think we're replacing it.
To our show today.
I have a guitar with me that Northwest Airlines broke. I guess didn't they do the song about Northwest Airlines
Yes, there
breaks
was
guitars?
a
or
song
something?
about that
Yeah.
on the web. Do you know
They
that?
actually broke one of my guitars. Yeah.
How did that happen?
I'm not exactly sure. I had it in a really good case, and I got it over to Germany and broke it out after the sound check, and all of a sudden I noticed the headstock was in a peace sign now, and it was like totally messed up. I couldn't use it for the whole show or the whole tour. I had to.
Now, you wrapped it real good in bounty paper towels and put it in like
I did. I followed all your instructions.
When you get to Germany and you don't have the guitar you're used to playing, how do you deal with that? It must be a scramble.
Yeah, then it's number two, and you end up playing number two, and it becomes number one.
You play like number two, or you play number two?
The first couple of shows, probably. You know.
Hey, he's a pro. He could play anything except Michael Winslow's mouth. That would be hard. So, Randy, I am curious, and it's been a long time since we interviewed you about your craft and your life's work, which has been much of it in tribute and honor to what many think is the greatest guitar player who ever lived.
Right.
And when you go back and think about it, which you must once in a while, at what moment can you remember saying to yourself, the guitar is going to be my life. And then at what moment do you remember saying, Jimmy, is that important, that a style I want to emulate? And then how did you get that good at it?
Well, the moment that I knew that I wanted to play the guitar was my senior year in high school, because I stopped going to high school and I stayed home all day without telling my mom. And so it was like I would wake up every morning and say goodbye to everyone and say, I got to get to school. And then I would walk around the side of the house and go back in the basement and go back to sleep until everybody left. And my father died when I was 10, so my mother went off to work, and then the house was empty, you know. So after she went to work, I had the house to myself all day. And
you said the heck with school. Yeah.
That's what I did all day long, is play records and play along with them.
What was it about school that you didn't like? Did you think if you went to school you'd become a
thought it wasn't
legislative
very
assistant and
imaginative.
you'd handle constituent mail and research?
I just thought that it wasn't very imaginative, and I didn't think that it fit the individual person very well. It seemed like cookie cutter type thing, where they were trying to, you know, get you used to waking up at a certain hour and doing things like that. And I was thinking, like, well, you know, I remember thinking from a very early age that the world is set up kind of strange. Like at age 3, maybe I was going, why does everybody have to go to a job? I don't understand.
Why do you have to do that? And that doesn't fit in my world. You were basically busting out of the box. Describe hearing Jimi Hendrix for the first time.
Well, then when I heard Jimmy for the first time, it was the Are You Experience record, you know, and like everybody went, wow, that's a guitar, you know. And
it was hard to even believe it was a guitar.
Hard to believe
it didn't sound like a guitar.
And then it seemed like they somehow sprinkled magic all over that first record, you know. And it was so, you know, I remember staring at the record and thinking, why do I like this? I don't understand why I like it, but I love it, and I don't know why.
And most of us, by the way, had that feeling, but then we would just listen to the album. Right. You went in there and figured out what probably almost nobody could figure out, how to make those sounds.
Well, you know, I'm still working on it too. You know?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of, you know, and it was funny because I started a long time ago working on it, and then I tried to put together whatever I could financially put together to try to sound that way. And eventually it all broke down to using exactly what Jimi Hendrix used, not changing one thing in the formula, and it all came together then. And then all the notes sounded
roughly
correct.
How many? Did you ever keep track of how many hours a day you would practice? And
I don't keep track of it, but I usually pick up the guitar every day for at least a couple hours.
A couple hours is like a normal day.
Yeah, that's it.
But when you were
some days a lot more.
When you were not going to college, like during those years, maybe more, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it just was always the thing that saved me from, you know, your mind will work on you sometimes when you're all by yourself and everything, and you start talking yourselves into all kinds of things, you know, that are maybe not good for your mind, you know. And the guitar kind of kept me away from all that.
There's a story, Randy, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but it's almost like you were kind of in a weird sort of way, kind of almost anointed by Jimi Hendrix, that you went and saw him down at Sick Stadium, and you were right up front when he played, and it was raining. And
oh, yeah, and the water dripping off of his boots onto my forehead and everything.
Water dripped off his boots onto your forehead? That's literally like being baptized.
It's like being baptized by Jimmy, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, you know, and I had this view of
it. It almost sounds like one of his lyrics, right?
Water come dripping from my boot on the Randy's forehead. I'm a Sick Stadium man.
It was strange, you know, just
fly away, little Randy, fly away. Play hard. Don't go to school. Play hard.
Oh, God.
Don't go to school.
I sit in mama's basement with the drips on my forehead.
But here's my point. The proper way to raise this kid is, remember, stay out of school.
Right.
That's the thing.
Well, boot sweat.
I just don't. I think school really is for most people, but I think there is the oddball, like maybe me, who it just didn't fit, you know.
Thank God.
Well, you do this so well, but what a lot of people may not know is how long you've been doing this for so well. It was not that many years after Jimmy passed.
I started doing the tribute in 1975, and at the time I remember there was an Elvis tribute, and that was pretty much all that was around. And then I came to Seattle with it And then I remember the band Bighorn changed to a tribute to Elton John.
Joe Shikani's Bighorn.
Yeah, and the let me see, Cheyenne changed to a tribute to the Rolling Stones, and then there was another band, Alamode, that changed to a tribute to Rod Stewart.
Was there ever a part
Right
of you,
after that.
because everybody who does a tribute gets some flack for it. It's the weirdest thing, because here you are in tribute to a great artist, but was there ever a part of you that that questioned that move, or
I was scared to death to do it in the first place, because I thought, well, this might, they might throw things at me and hate it and hate me for doing it, and don't do that, to Jimmy, because it's a little like doing a tribute to Jesus Christ or something, you better be right.
You better be willing to,
go all the way. If you're going to do a tribute to Jesus, you better be walking on the water,
Really walking on the water.
Got the nails in my hand.
No plexiglass. Nothing like that. Yeah. We're going to check. And so now, and I'm not sure if everybody knows this. In the day, by the way, when Joe first told me about you, he was passionate. He was like, this guy fills the Paramount like as much as Larry the Cable Guy.
Well,
he used to fill the Paramount.
I was a young man in the front row in 1977 when I saw Randy first. And it was when he was doing the tribute with, the full... the full
when we
costume,
came out of the fog and everything,
the whole bit, and I felt like I was kind of anointed by him.
He sweat on you?
Yes, yeah.
Boot sweat.
Yeah. And I was
only it caused all his hair to fall out.
I was in the front row the day Randy whipped off the wig and started playing original music for the first time, and it was incredible. And it's there's nothing like it, and that's what I was saying. You've been doing it for so long, it almost is like you were anointed to play that well, because, 30 years later, I would expect you to be great, which you are, but you were great.
Even then.
Well, thank you. What
Randy,
was strange about it is listening to these records and everything, mostly the Band of Gypsies record, going and playing along with it every day and piecing these puzzles together and everything. At the time I was doing it, I had no idea why I was doing it. It was just happening. I went for years without anybody to play it with because nobody knew these songs. So
now, did you have some of the same issues that Jimmy did as far as excesses and
Oh, you mean like drugs and everything?
That's what he's talking about.
That's what I say.
I never really went overboard. I
went a little bit.
I had a great
not...
phys ed teacher in school.
You did.
And he told us, he warned us about everything, and I really took his advice to heart about a lot of things.
The phys ed teacher told you how bad it was for your body to do this.
He told me about drugs. He told me about eating too much, not getting enough exercise, not getting enough sleep, things like that. How to excel at whatever you're going to want to do for as long as you possibly can do it.
This was obviously not Jimmy's phys ed teacher, probably.
No.
Right? Yeah.
But when you came out and played your original music, I think the first song you played was called Champagne and Cocaine.
Right. And the song was...
Nothing wrong with singing about that
stuff.
Well,
see, the thing about it was, I just only rhymed... I didn't notice the words rhyme, so that's why I put them together.
That's how most people get in trouble.
And there was that other song by Pat Travers was out at the same time.
Snorting whiskey, drinking cocaine.
And that's really had an influence on me writing that song.
It's true. Nothing rhymes with celery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy tours Europe. Randy plays to packed houses wherever he goes. Don't miss him at the Guitar Building Workshop, December 19th through 23rd. What a great Christmas gift in advance for a youngster who wants to learn the guitar, or someone who's already showing some promise to be inspired, as Randy was, by greatness in a museum that is a tribute to one of the greatest guitarists who ever lived.
Right. And, I'd just like to say one thing, too, and people wonder why I do this and everything. And it's not really so much about the guitar, because I've got that figured out and everything. And I sat down and wondered, why am I doing this? And the answer that I came up with was that Jimmy was like a prophet, and that Jimmy knew some things that people are not usually privy to. And if you really want to expand your knowledge, I'd say get into some Jimi Hendrix lyrics and figure out what he's talking about.
Or you could just listen to Champagne and Cocaine,
Yeah.
which is Randy Hansen's song. We're closing with now.
All right.
Randy, always a pleasure. We'll get you to play on stage with the Impalers again sometime
All right,
soon.
I'd love to.
Take care.